I'm scarred for life, but I'm set for life, and I'm set for life, but I'm scarred for life, and I'm coming at you. I'm fucking crazy. I'm fucking psycho, fucking insane. That's the fucking chorus right there.
You nailed it,
That is
dude. You
good.
nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it, and you visually transformed into fucking Joe Rogan there,
You
dude.
did.
You fucking,
Oh, Joe Rogan. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you did. You visually transformed
That's
yourself into Joe Rogan. It was amazing.
You're watching the Bigroom live on Twitch. You're the Bigroom. You're watching the Bigroom live on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next line?
Stand up. You don't have to be afraid.
Actually, it was one more. Yeah.
Oh, there was one. Wow. That's true. That's true.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special big room here in the big room where we celebrate our lives together and apart and the hands that help us. Say hi to the hand of K-Rock, everybody. Hand of K-Rock. Give the birthday boy, BB Rumble, at midnight. We'll give him one right now. Give him a good birthday wedgie.
It's birthday wedgie.
Yeah, you know, that tradition.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's a tradition. There it is. It's happening. I don't know what it is, but it's happening. He's getting it. Oh!
Yo!
Hey,
Hot.
how you guys doing?
He's good. You got
Excellent.
the Pirates gear ready to go and ready to get into some conversations about baseball and the Pirates.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
Sound like
Wes,
Norm McDonald.
here's a piece of trivia for you. Did you know that last month, in the month of June, the Pirates became the first Major League Baseball team in the history of Major League Baseball
History.
to have three separate players, hit 3 home runs in 3 separate games in 1 month?
I don't quite understand. That doesn't sound like that.
It doesn't even sound like a statistic. Like
In the
okay.
in the month of June,
In the month of June.
in 3 different games,
Yeah.
3 different Pittsburgh players had 3 home runs in 1 game. So like
in one game.
in 1 game.
Gotcha.
So it's like the game on June 1st,
runs.
9 home runs, right? 9 home runs. Like there was a game on June 1st, and Spiggity Bob hit 3 home runs. And then there was a game on June 11th when Jackie McColtrain hit 3
That's
home
another
runs.
great name.
And then on June 30th, Ryan Reynolds hit 3 home runs.
Ryan
No team
Reynolds.
had ever done that before. in
But he
history
owns
of
the team.
baseball.
He
He's
does
an
everything.
actor.
He does everything.
That was Brian.
Yeah, you're Bryant. You're right. We know that.
I'm Brian Reynolds.
How's my vocal coming through? Pretty good.
No, your mic is not
It's
turned on.
you're a little low, and
Are you coming in clear?
I'm muffly. Am I coming in muffled?
You are
Yeah.
You are
Muffled.
muffled coming.
muffled and distant.
Muffled and coming.
That's the best way to do it.
Muffly distance.
Trying to. So the Chillins have the green screen set up in their office
Okay.
at the moment. So my lights are cut. So I took my lights upstairs for them. That's why I'm such in the dark. So I'm just gonna stay like this all the time.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, this is kind of very 2001 Space Odyssey.
Right.
It's full of stars. It's full of stars.
Oh my God.
So hey everybody, started telling you, BB Rumble turns 51 at midnight.
Tomorrow. Yay for him.
How about
Yay
that?
for that guy.
Yay for that guy. There. Ding.
And I don't want to take up the entire show. I do have
But
two
everybody,
things
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me what's the best thing about me
About
being
me.
alive?
right. Tell me. I
We
do
do
have,
not take up the whole show, but if we got to, it's cool.
I do have two stories I do need to read at some point
Yeah,
for feedback.
that sounds awesome.
Primarily on the one. I don't know if ad hoc will be because the one's a little longer, but it's for our contest.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm good to stay for it.
All right. Okay. Cool.
But,
Cool.
I'd also like to propose that.
I do 1,000 times, yes.
And also to kick the birthday off.
Hey, what?
Oh, what do we
What?
got there?
I gotta ask.
Okay, we
What?
gotta ask. What
Or-
I am.
are
I
you
drinking.
Birthday.
Well, for my birthday, I'm going into my reserve stock of the.
absinthe?
No, I'm going with
What
the
is that?
Jefferson's Ocean Reserve bourbon.
Oh,
Bourbon, a beauty bourbon.
Yeah, this is the
That's
ocean.
look
This
at
is the
that
Ocean
color.
Reserve. Oh, it's the Ocean Reserve.
Yeah. Traveled through the ocean and just kept moving and moving to get up all the flavors of the
Of the
cask.
wood. Yep, of the wood.
Oh, right. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, we know the story. You don't have
So
to
it's
tell the
super
people that aren't
woodsy.
listening.
Is it super woodsy?
Is this your first taste of it?
Mm-mm.
No. It's a flavor saver special.
Wow.
That many tastes of it. Yeah.
Nice taste.
Very cool.
This is the one that we couldn't find anywhere in Pennsylvania.
Can't find it anywhere.
And then one
Aussie.
day down in Virginia, Karen and I wound up driving through the back roads, wound up at a little liquor store, and I went in there and said, I gotta go in there so I can find anything. And I'm looking around all the things. I'm like, okay. And I think that's about it. And Karen goes, Isn't that something you're looking for? And just kind of
Hey,
point,
you're like, you listened.
and I was just like, what? And she goes, right there. And she points, and I was like, oh my God, yes, that is.
Oh, I figured it out. Good.
So there you go.
And there it is. The hand of K-Rock, everybody, comes
Save
through,
of the day,
finds
save
the
of the
missing
day.
link. And now BB Rumble is complete.
Yes.
Would you guys like to know what?
What
What are
you
you
drinking?
drinking for my birthday?
I got the Dewar's White Label.
Oh, okay.
And
I've
it's
heard.
Bernie.
Is it Bernie?
Yeah, it burns. It just burns in the gut.
So that'll warm
Takes
you
to
up.
the nostril. Siegfried says, "Happy birthday, BB." Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Siegfried.
Yeah. Siegfried was asking how to
Ziggy.
watch without showing themselves, and they're here. They actually have a feed. So
Oh,
they logged into the behind the scenes stream. But all you gotta do is just go to Twitch. Go to twitch.com and do a search for Big Room, and you'll find us, and then you can just watch it there.
the big room.
The
Is it
Big
the-
Room. I don't
The big
know.
room.
If you just look for Big Room enough, you'll find it.
Sick
Fine.
pride.
Siegfried, it reminds me of Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah, and Roy.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Siegfried's been with us before then, right?
They have to be. They must be part of the fucking
The crew.
crew because that's the only place I send the link.
Ah. Oh, interesting.
It's definitely
Interesting.
Soul Calibur. It's the Soul Calibur blade
Right.
of yeah.
What about? Oh, I saw the monk there had the old.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I'm doing it up big style. This is what I have in the house for you.
The cream.
24 ounce cream.
Nice.
Gagged, muffled, and creamed.
Nice.
But what did you just say before?
Muffled income.
Hey,
Yeah.
so I would like to propose that we do a
1,000 times yes.
call to Lil Bro Chandler. Sing him a happy birthday.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, let's do it.
I'll do it on here.
Mhm.
So I give him a call, and then I'll just face it there,
Yeah.
and then I'll put on the audio, and we can sing happy birthday. Should work, right?
Awesome. Does he do the
Perfect.
video pickup? Does he do video pickups?
Oh, good question. Good question.
Probably not. The Pittsburgh Monks gave him a call and sang to him about a half an hour ago. He's up for it. He's into it. He'll be going to Dively's open stage night tonight, open mic night. 25 years strong, running.
Right.
Yeah, there's no video on this. Chan Man. Hey, happy birthday.
Yay!
You, skibbity baba boo boo boo. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, gentlemen. Happy birthday to you. Neju.
You having a good one?
Having a good time. Having a good time.
Well, that was me, TB, and
TK,
singing to you. If you could hear that, okay.
You're like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right. So you're going to Dively's tonight?
Change of plan. I might go there later, but I'm at Haven right now.
Nice.
Awesome.
Spicy wings. Get the wings.
Spicy wings to Haven. That's the way to go.
All right. Hey, come out and climb again.
Ruben.
Look through your old some of your stash. I gave you a few birthdays ago. I gave you gift cards to Ascend, which is a climbing place out here in another climbing place in Pittsburgh. So if you can find those, we'll go there next time you come up.
Okay.
Probably in a drawer somewhere.
In your underdrawers.
All right, brother. Well, I love you.
Love you, brother Chan.
Hi. And if you end up at Dively's, everybody listening, go to Dively's, buy Chandler a birthday beer.
Yes.
Indeed.
Shot in the beer town. It's a shot in the beer town.
Shot in a beer town.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Beer bop.
That is the blood brother of the ad hoc and the monk.
How old is the old Chan?
He's 21 years younger than I am.
Exactly.
Just
To the
12.
day. To the day.
Genetically modified.
Right. so 27?
Yeah.
You'll be 27 today.
I'll be 27 today.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
So, no.
28.
28?
Okay. Yeah, because I'll be 29 this year. I'll be 49 this year. There's the importance.
If only. If only.
Right. Yeah, right. 29, 49. That works. 28.
Right.
28, right. Okay. All right, cool. Awesome.
Biddly-bo. Jafar will be joining us this evening at some point after the Chillins are creating great dreams and slaying dragons and such.
Cool.
Dimension jumping. They've been referring to dreams as dimension jumping.
That's cool. I had a dimension jumping dream last night.
I've been having a couple interesting ones. What was yours?
It was very, I don't know, it wasn't normal for me. I was married to somebody that I don't know who it was.
It must have been ad hoc. He's been proposing all night.
It could have been ad hoc, yeah. But yeah, I was married to someone. I didn't recognize them, but it was almost like a fucking Dick Van Dyke episode. Like it was very
WandaVision.
Yeah, very homey, and I was kind of content to be there, and but part of me was I don't know. Part of me, I think, hated her for some reason. It was a weird dream. It was very jumpy. It was very jumpy and
Typical domestic bliss.
yeah. I didn't hate her. I didn't. It was for nothing she had done. I totally acknowledged in the dream, like whatever it was my fault. It was definitely I had my own brain had decided to move into some form of hatred for some reason, but I didn't want to lose the Dick Van Dyke-ness of it all. So I don't know. She might have been a dyke. I don't know.
Might have been a Dick Van Dyke.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I was in love with her, and I hated her for it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really interesting. Birthday dreams are interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens tonight.
We'll see what that bitch does tonight.
What bitch does to me tonight? Yeah, I had a little, had a few vodkas the other night to commemorate Gary's passing.
Oh, that's right. That's right around this time as well, huh?
Yeah, July 3rd into the 4th, right after midnight. Yeah, so I had some of my good, potato vodka and I do
penalty
it
shot.
more. No, I know. Karen tell you I should maybe have a penalty shot. And I was like, I don't want to have a penalty shot. No.
How much of that stuff is left?
Oh, way too lot. It's way too much. Like it's probably something. There's probably something poisonous about it now. Like I'm sure that there was something in there that
Socrates, hemlock is poison.
Yeah. No one, not once, did anyone come up to me and say, Socrates, hemlock is poison.
It's always Socrates. What is the meaning of life? Socrates. What is the meaning of existence? Socrates. Where is the origin of man? But not once did anyone ever come up and say, Socrates, hemlock is poison. This is the kind of thing that gets me about you guys. Idiots. We got to bring that up sometime.
How are you doing that? Doing what, Socrates? Making your body like rubber.
Hey, Play-Doh.
Oh, okay, I'm good.
This is for you. Hold on.
Nice.
Never fear, kisses here. Nice makeup.
I'm sorry your parents ruined your birthday. Flip. A kiss is going to make it all better.
There you go. That's for you.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
It was hard to get them to record that, but I pulled some strings and I told them who it was for, and they did it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You would have been in it, but then it wouldn't have been a surprise.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry you didn't get to meet them.
That's all right, I guess.
It was a good surprise. You were surprised though, right?
I was surprised. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're good.
So how's everybody's week's been going thus far? Good.
Siegfried said memento mori and signed out.
Okay.
All right, memento mori.
Siegfried was somebody that was here, right? In my place.
Had it been
Had
at your place.
Somebody
Who knows the stoicism? Memento mori.
It's someone who's on the thread. It's someone who's on the Facebook thread.
Oh, who can open that up?
Yeah. Oh, Siegfried, welcome back. We were just talking about how much.
we know who you are. Actually, we can't remember your moniker to the human that you are.
Yeah, we can't place you to the human.
What are you drinking, Siegfried?
Siegfried. Yeah, Siegfried.
Yay! Laugh at us. Laugh at me.
Is it?
Bet that's not a pig.
The old brain is doing its thing.
Woo.
Right, they're drinking red wine.
Laughed my ass off. Red wine. All right. Who would be Siegfried? That wouldn't be Bones.
No, not that. No.
Why would they take Siegfried?
Why Siegfried?
Why Siegfried? Who? We shouldn't be saying this out loud. I mean, yay!
Siegfried.
Good to see you
Nice
again.
to see you again.
Oh, there was such a name. You have.
Yes, yeah, right there.
It suits, yeah. I mean, just as the person that you are in our life as well.
Okay, you're not helping, Siegfried.
You're not helping. Give us another hint.
But that's the way you are. That's the way you are. Never.
Oh, it's what you've always been. You. Yoo-hoo.
Ooh, Siegfried.
We're shitty friends.
I'm horrible. I'm like one of the worst friends.
I mean, Siegfried
BB and I had a
would be great name
conversation
for
about this
Damron.
recently.
It would be
Yeah,
good
but he's
Damron.
not. He's the gay.
Yeah, he's the gay guy. He's gay or gay.
Gay, you know.
Disney never shows up with that.
No,
this is
no, we know.
for you.
No.
What does
And it's not-
baffled mean?
What does
What does baffle mean? What does incompetent mean? I'm Siegfried. Or
Hey!
Nightmare.
Or
Siegfried or
a living nightmare?
It's you, Gina Javon.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, everybody. Birthday
Jafar,
beard
Jafar,
summons.
Are
Gina
you,
Jafar,
are you,
Gina
are you
Jafar, Gina.
Siegfried?
What's that?
Are you Siegfried?
Yes.
See, I knew it.
Happy birthday, BB.
Thank you, Jafar. Thank you
Cheers.
so much. Hey,
Ding.
what?
Are
you
you drinking?
for my birthday?
What am I drinking? That's what I'm drinking.
Ah, the Genesee Specialty Cream Ale.
In a cup, like a lady.
Is it a plastic cup?
No, it's a glass cup.
Oh, well, see, that's
Well, that's not red wine, so that eliminates her again.
Right. Yeah, yeah. If you put beer into a glass cup, then it becomes much fancier.
Fancy. I tried putting mine in a giant prison tin cup,
Oh no.
but it was filled with dust.
Yeah.
So I couldn't blow it out, and I couldn't wipe it out just yet. So, and I didn't want to leave you. Didn't want to leave. So
I love the Jafar's here as well to maybe give you some feedback on some stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the stories, huh?
Well, which one? I have two. Which one? You want the short one first? That is totally not in my wheelhouse and just came out of my head.
Yes.
Or the longer one that I really need feedback on.
How about the longer one? You could
Concur.
read that to us after I leave.
What?
What? No, I'm just joking. You really need the feedback on the long one, so we better do that because we're at the 28-minute mark.
Well, either one. I mean, either way, I'd like to get both of them in. And the
Mhm.
longer one is maybe, when I say longer, I mean 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You know, it's not like an hour and a half read.
Do the longer one.
The longer one first?
Do the longer one first.
All right,
Okay.
let's refresh. Give me a second. Let me refresh beverage and uno momento.
Yeah, the shorter one is literally a 45-second read. Like it's a quick little
A quickie?
ditty. A quickie, yeah, a quickie. That took me about that has an interesting story behind it because I woke up with the opening line in my head. Like I don't know where the opening line came from. I can't relate it to anything that I had watched or viewed recently. But I woke up on Sunday, I think. Sunday was in my head. And it literally prevented me from continuing work on my horror story. Like I could not continue my horror story because I had to expand upon this line that was in my head. And as I wrote it, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck this is because this isn't my style at all.
Came to you.
Yeah, and then I wrote it and I was just like, that sounds kind of good to me. I wonder if anyone else will find it that way.
Well, we'll be the judge of that, BB.
All right, that's what I like.
For your
Mind
birthday.
do you guys mind if I turn my camera off? Because I'm just going to sit and listen.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
That way she can fall asleep and not.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Right.
Get going.
All right, so here is the longer horror story. This is for a contest on one of the
Wait,
sites.
it's a horror story? Never mind.
It's a horror story.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a story to write a campfire ghost story tale, and you had to start it with a specific line. So the line that I had to start with was, "The cabin in the woods had been abandoned for years, but one night a candle burned in the window." So that's the line that you have to start it with.
Okay. All right. I'm going to mute my mic so you don't hear me cry and scream.
And at any point, anybody can jump in. If you don't understand something, stop me. Like if you don't understand a word that I said or something. And
I don't understand.
right, or if there's any feedback that you feel is necessary at the time. And as always, as I've prefaced before, I find it very difficult to write horror stories in general, just because I feel like everything is a cliche in them. Like I cannot find, like it's very difficult to write a horror story and just it not go, oh, you mean like so and so, yeah. Oh, it's like The Hills Have Eyes. No,
Right.
oh, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No, oh, Evil Dead. It's all there.
It's all been
Yeah.
done.
All right, so tried to
Except for now.
tried to
Until
do something
now.
tried to do something a
Here
little,
we are.
and maybe yeah, hopefully still get something a little creepy. All right, so the name of the story is "If a Candle Burns in the Woods and Nobody is There to See it." And here we go.
That's good.
The cabin in the woods had been abandoned for years, but one night a candle burned in the window. The candle had been placed there by Jonathan Taxia, a man in his mid-20s with everything laid out in front of him. He was a newlywed who was just about to finish his law degree, and he already had a job lined up with a highly reputed firm in Chicago. His wife, Catherine, a grade school teacher, had just learned earlier in the month that she was pregnant, and they were both overjoyed. Despite the fact that life seemed to be lining up about as perfectly as he could have hoped, Jonathan was a firm believer in not skipping steps. While he prided himself as a man of laws and logic, he had grown up on a farm and understood the value of hard work and discipline. "Don't count your chickens before they're hatched," his father had said to him frequently. Jonathan remembered rolling his eyes so many times during his youth. "Don't count your chickens before they're hatched," he would mock his father. It was so cliche. "I'm telling you, son, sometimes no matter how well things are going, you just got to wait and make sure everything holds true." "But Dad, you say that every single year, and every single year we have more than enough chickens." "Johnny, you remember last year when the circus passed through town? Remember them folks that would climb way up to the top of the big tent? They would get up there and then walk across the entire length of that tent on a tiny little rope. No net underneath them, no safety wires, nothing. How many times do you think they did that perfectly? Show after show, day after day, year after year. Now, how many times do you think they lose focus? Assume everything's going to go as smoothly as it did yesterday, slip up and have a really bad day. I guarantee it ain't more than once." It was that year when the Taxia farm was hit by a particularly virulent strain of Newcastle disease, which presented itself almost exclusively through the symptoms of extremely soft shells midway through development. Over 80% of the eggs proved unviable, and they nearly lost the farm. That was also the year that Jonathan stopped mocking his father. "What are you thinking about, babe?" Catherine's words stirred him from his memories. It was still 2 days before Jonathan would see the cabin for the first time. "I was just thinking about my dad, about why he never even took us to this cabin when he was alive. Hell, I never even knew of it before a couple of days ago." "Well, he and your Uncle Samuel were never very close, right?" Jonathan nodded thoughtfully. "You still want me to come with you?" "What? Yeah, of course I do. I could do like what we originally said. I'd be fine just shooting up to Chicago and meeting you there." No. I mean, if you would rather just go to Chicago, that's okay. But I would really like to have you come with me. I'm just distracted by this whole cabin thing. At the reading of the will last week, Catherine offered, it sounded like this cabin was something your grandfather left to both your dad and uncle. And your grandfather's been gone how long? I know it was before I met you. It's been, geez, over 15 years. I don't think I was even 10 yet. Maybe there's some sort of history to it between your dad and his brother. I mean, if it partially belonged to your dad for over 15 years, and he never even mentioned it, let alone took the family up there, then there could be more of an emotional connection to the cabin.
Brokeback Mountain.
Something uncomfortable, at least on your dad's part. Yeah, I suppose that's possible. But I don't think Sam ever really spent any time up there either. I mean, Uncle S was always traveling, like year round. Never had a wife that any of us knew of anyway. Never had any kids, again, that we knew of. He would pop into town once every few years, swing by the farm for a few minutes, maybe an hour. I don't even know where he lived. Could be something from when they were younger. That's true. And he died when again? Uncle S? I don't even know. All I know is he must have died before Dad because, like you said, from the way the will was read, it sounds like this cabin wouldn't have been passed over to me until they were both gone. All I really know about Sam is from my dad. He said Sammy was his little brother and was always a troublemaker, never did chores around the farm, left, well, Dad said Grandpa tossed him out, but either way, he was out on his own before he was 18 and never looked back. Other than that, I only met him maybe a dozen times, and that was just for 6 or 7 hours total. What kind of feel did you get from him? You've always been really good with first impressions, even if they are brief. Jonathan shrugged. He was always smiling when he would swing by. Good looking guy. Always looked to give me and the other kids a few dollars, but Dad would never let him. The only time I saw him successfully give money to the family was that one year when he lent Dad a fair sum when our flock was devastated, and we thought we were going to lose everything. He literally saved the farm, but even then, Dad was so reluctant to accept his brother's help. Well, your dad was always a bit too self-respecting when it came to needing assistance. Catherine walked across the bedroom, handing Jonathan a small stack of folded shirts. Here, these should be good regardless of what the weather is like up there. Thanks. Jonathan took the clothing and placed it into a suitcase. Yeah, but it was more than that. Dad held out way longer than what made sense. Mom begged him. She lit a candle every night and prayed to God to have her husband accept the help we needed. And when he finally gave in, he seemed, I don't know, defeated. And that was also the one time that I got kind of a bad feel off my uncle. How do you mean? I don't know. As usual, he was smiling, and it was totally sympathetic. Like he understood the difficulties we were all going through. Was very was very caring and concerned about my mom. But there was something different about the smile. Like it was just there on his face. It didn't reach his eyes. You know what I mean? Like Christian Bale in American Psycho, or Ryan Gosling in Everyday Real Life. Yeah, exactly. Jonathan laughed. Like they are playing a completely different card game than everybody else. And they know they are winning. And then Mom died a year later to the day of him accepting the money. And it was like that was when my father realized he had been playing the wrong cards and never fully recovered. Listen, Catherine wrapped her arms around her husband. Mike, your father, was a good man. Even if we go up to this cabin and find some sort of deep, dark family secrets, it's not going to change the fact that your father cared more about his family than anything in the world. Jonathan loved the way her body melted into his, softening any shell of stress he had encased himself in. He took a deep breath and kissed the top of her head. So, she stood up on her tiptoes and kissed the side of his neck, just above the collar of his shirt. Let's finish packing, get up to this cabin and see what kind of place it is, what we want to do with it, and then get ourselves off to Chicago. Scene break. 48 hours later, after a pair of overnight stays in St. Louis and Columbus, Jonathan and Catherine pulled the car to a stop in the Pennsylvania wilds of Potter County, not far from Kettle Creek State Park. Well, Catherine began as they both stepped from the vehicle, that is definitely a cabin. I swear to Christ, Christine, I swear to Christ, Catherine, if we go in there and find a Necronomicon, we are going home immediately. Catherine covered her mouth with her hand, partially out of habit to cover her laugh, partially out of instinct to hide her genuinely surprised look at what her brain insisted to her qualified as a shack. This might explain why your dad never brought you here. From the outside, the cabin almost appears more of an apparition than a solid structure. The walls, doors, and the small porch all having taken on that ghostly grayish color that extremes in weather can impart onto wood that has gone unprotected for too long. While the light from the setting sun filtered through the trees, illuminating a multitude of colors against the outer backdrop, it seemed to be spread too thin and dissipate in the black and white aura of shadows that surrounded the cabin. We might have made a mistake planning on spending the night here, Jonathan said as the couple met each other at the front of the vehicle. You think? Catherine said. It sounded like a question, but was clearly a statement. I'm pretty sure I saw a little motel 10 miles or so back up the main road before we turned off. Jonathan nodded. You didn't notice it was part of the Bates family chain, did you? He chuckled. Catherine slapped his shoulder. Even if it was, I think we're better off checking it out, she said, as Jonathan continued nodding. It's just 3/4 of a mile back up to the main road. I'm sure they'll have a room available. We can relax, get up early, come out here tomorrow morning, take care of everything in the daylight, and be done with it. Yeah, Jonathan's acknowledgement that Catherine was onto a good idea became more and more enthusiastic as a chilling, silent breeze blew over them. Yeah, I'm sold. Within moments, they were back in the car, turned around, and on their way back to the overgrown dirt path that led to Route 144. Man, it gets dark in the mountains. It gets dark quick in the mountains when the sun goes down, Catherine said, as her husband flicked on the headlights. Oh, yeah, it's nothing like Oklahoma, Jonathan agreed. Living on the plains, we get to watch the sun go all the way down to the distant horizon. But you get into some elevation? Hell, I'm not even talking about real mountains like the Rockies or the Sierra Nevadas. Even 2,000 feet or so, like here in the Alleghenies, and that's dark. And that darkness gets on you in a hurry. It's just a straight shot to the road, right? Jonathan abruptly changed topics just to double check. Catherine looked up from trying to get her cell phone to work. No, there was a little right-hand turn we had to take shortly after leaving the pavement. Wasn't there? We turned left off at Route 144, and then that path went on straight, and we made a bit of a right-hand turn onto this trail. Shit, did I miss it? Jonathan looked behind him for a moment. Catherine leaned forward a bit. No, I don't think so. It's right close to the road. I think it's on the left-hand side, right up here. They continued on a few more moments as the shadows of night continued making the rest of the world more obscure. This isn't right. I must have missed it. Jonathan started slowing down. Like I said, the turn was really, really close to the main road. Like, we should be able to see the road before we have to take the bend. Was it a turn or a bend? Jonathan asked. What? Was it just a bend in the road around to the right and we stayed on the main dirt path? Or was it actually a turn onto a separate trail? It was like a split, right? I don't know, Catherine. I just remember it being a straight shot. You're the one who said there was a turn, Jonathan said with a bit of frustration as he pulled to a stop. Hey, listen, you were driving, Catherine said steadily. I know. You're right. Sorry. Jonathan began turning the car around. Regardless, we should have seen the main road by now, right? Catherine nodded, looking out first one side of the car and then the other. Yeah, go back slow. I'll keep an eye on the right side. You focus on the left. They continued backtracking extremely slowly for about 20 seconds. There, Catherine said louder than she'd intended, simultaneously grabbing her husband's arm and pointing off to the right. Did you see that? No, what? A flash of light. I think it was a headlight. The turn has to be right around here. Another 10 seconds, and this time it was Jonathan pointing. There it is, just to the right of them. The dirt pathway clearly split off, while the trail directly in front of them still showed the signs of having been recently disturbed by the passage of their vehicle. They both laughed in relief. Thank God, Jonathan said. I was starting to freak out a little there. I'm with you. When we come back tomorrow, I'll record a video with the phone, so if you don't have any connection out here, that way we will at least have some visual clues. I don't plan on being here anywhere near sunset tomorrow. They both laughed again as they took the turn and headed for the main road. The laughter naturally faded to quiet, but then that quiet settled into a heavy stillness as they continued moving forward. John? Yeah, I know. This is the trail that should intersect with the main road. There was a growing uneasiness, the sensation that there was movement that was always just beyond the arc of illumination in front of them, that there was something right against the face of the glass on either side of the vehicle. There's no way we crossed over it, right? Catherine asked, knowing the answer. Fuck me. Catherine looked forward as Jonathan followed the slight right-hand bend the trail was taking. Her mind screamed as her chest threatened to explode, but she could not make a sound. There, crossing the periphery from the darkness into the light cast by the headlights of the slowly moving vehicle, was the cabin. Scene break. Okay, Catherine took several slow, deep breaths, steadying herself. Let's go through this logically. Jonathan pulled the car to a stop. Right, logically. Jonathan kept his hands on the wheel. He was unable to look away from the cabin. The only movement in his field of vision was the occasional fine mist drifting between the vehicle and structure. That is the same cabin, right? I think so, Catherine answered hesitantly, looking forward. I mean, it has to be. We had to have just gotten turned around somehow. Exactly. So if we got turned around, do we just give it another shot? Try to drive out of here again? Is that definitely the same cabin, though? Catherine leaned forward a bit more, her eyes squinting a bit. It doesn't look as sickly. Jonathan saw what she meant. The boards didn't seem as ghoulishly colorless. The porch appeared sturdier. Wasn't that window cracked? Catherine pointed to the clearly intact pane of glass next to the front entrance. Jonathan paused and shook his head slowly. I can't remember for sure. I thought there was a crack, but then as I think about it in my head right now, I also remember contemplating how drafty it had to be in there because so many of the boards were separated from each other. But look, Jonathan joined Catherine in the pointing. Those all look pretty tight. Okay, so logically speaking, Catherine found herself speaking in the same tone of voice used when she was trying to break down any of the number of highly improbable stories one of her schoolchildren fabricated in an attempt to explain why they had not done their homework, or what happened in their textbook, or why they were barefoot in school when they clearly had shoes earlier. We have two primary possibilities, she continued, with each of them having a number of subsets. This is the same cabin we visited a short while ago when the sun was up, or this is a completely different shelter. So far, sounds accurate. If this is a different location, then we are potentially moving further and further into the woods with no cell phone coverage. And no map. The Pennsylvania wilds are over 500,000 square acres. People go missing here all the time. Okay, so if this is a different cottage, driving around in the dark would be bad. Yes, Catherine agreed. Yes, I think that makes sense. Of course, this cabin could be a home to a family of cannibals. Wild speculation does not help here, John, Catherine exclaimed, holding one finger up and looking out into the nothingness to make her point clear. Jonathan nodded. Right. Understood. Go on. If this is the same location, then we either legitimately got turned around in the dark and can give it another go as long as we take it slowly, or Catherine seemed reluctant to continue, or we have some real life ghost story bullshit going on right now, he concluded, looking over at his wife. Okay, let's go worst case scenario here, she offered. Let's say this is some actual freaking horror movie shit. What would the young couple in the movie do? They would go in the cabin. Yes, exactly. Let's not do that. All right, John pounded on the steering wheel enthusiastically a few times. I see what we're doing here. Identify the most probable actions of our characters in a horror movie and then don't do it. Precisely. So if the horror movie couple does not go into the cabin, what else do they try? They try driving out of here again and just keep on coming back to the same location. Yeah, I've definitely seen that scenario before. Okay, thinking ahead a bit, it seems to me if we continue to successfully remove real life ghost story bullshit from our possibilities, then our worst case scenario becomes waiting in our car until sunrise and then finding our way out of here. Jonathan held a bit as if having a different opinion on something. What? I don't want to speculate, but cannibals. God damn it, John. That falls under ghost story bullshit. Well, okay. Hillbillies then. Armed hillbillies. You have to admit that's way more than just a probability up here. These windows won't protect us from a backwoodsman with a gun. Catherine took a deep breath. I'm willing to concede the fact that it is somewhat possible, if not probable, that this cabin located in front of us is the home to folks who live out in these woods. Folks who may, by some people, commonly be referred to as hillbillies, and they may possess firearms for the purpose of anything from home defense to hunting. However, we are looking for positive steps forward here, so I have to maintain that the likelihood that any individuals calling this area their home who are exercising their Second Amendment right to own a rifle or number of rifles are ultimately God-fearing, law-abiding, friendly citizens and not deliverance-style hillbillies, as that would cross into the realm of horror movie. Your premise and reasoning are acknowledged and accepted, Jonathan said, realizing his wife was on the verge of entering what he referred to as her squash and wither mode, where she would systematically dismantle your argument and present her case in such an impenetrable way that all other possible or theoretical differences you may have been considering dissipate like forgotten grapes upon the vine. So we are in agreement then? Catherine asked. Our best course of action is to lock down as best we can and stay in the car. We'll have to turn off the car, Jonathan offered. It would be a classic horror movie faux pas to make the right decision, leave the headlights on, and the battery dies, or we run out of gas. Good call. Do it. Jonathan turned off the vehicle, and the darkness that descended upon them was palpable. It was like a solid weight had impacted the car, causing it to shimmy, as if a physical force had pressed against it. That is a whole new kind of dark, Jonathan nearly whispered. The couple's hands impulsively found one another. The murk was so thick, so absolute, that they could not even discern the outline of the person sitting next to them. Just give it a few minutes. Catherine's voice was steady on the surface, but she could feel the shakiness just underneath. Our eyes will adjust. What is that? Jonathan asked. What is... Catherine cut herself off as she noticed the soft glow coming from the cabin. Is that a candle? As their eyes adjusted, it became evident that it was indeed a candle in one of the windows, and beyond that, what was clearly an elderly woman was motioning them in, her kindly appearance punctuated by the cottony lace-rimmed apron and soft gray hair in a neat ball atop her head. Yep. Jonathan leaned back into the seat a bit, not looking away from the window. That's just about the creepiest fucking thing I've ever seen. Let's look at this factually. Catherine was breathing deeply and slowly. This has to be a different cabin. Look, in the front window with the candle. That looks like a flower box. That definitely was not there on the original shack we pulled up to. So what? So, looking at everything factually, there's nothing inherently creepy about the scene in front of us, right? Catherine wasn't sure she was believing her own line of reasoning, but she was sticking with it. Older woman living in what, as of right now, looks to be a well-maintained homestead, she continued, concerned about the young couple lost in the woods out in front of her home. It's just us freaking ourselves out. We're not familiar with the area. We come across what was admittedly a very macabre cottage. We get turned around. It's dark. Our minds start going off in all sorts of different directions. Catherine, John proceeded cautiously, that right there is a spectral apparition waving to us from. Do you hear something under the car? Catherine didn't need to answer. As soon as the conversation stopped, a shuffling sound was distinctly audible from underneath them. The sound of something large wriggling against the ground, moving from the rear up towards the front, with occasional out-of-place snipping sounds. That's it. We're out of here. John turned the keys in the ignition and quickly moved to put the car into drive. Nothing but the sounds of something crawling below. John tried the keys again. Nothing. Suddenly, a hulking, twisted humanoid figure stood up directly in front of the vehicle, placing its hands upon the hood and pulling itself out from underneath. It quickly shambled off into the darkness away from the cabin. What the hell is that? Jonathan exclaimed. Look at the old woman, Catherine pointed. The elderly woman had her hand up in front of her mouth, obviously also scared of the happenings just outside. Your call, John. Possible spectral old woman in the cabin, or almost certain mutated cannibal out here with us? John tried the keys one last time with nothing but silence. Son of a bitch. A possible specter in the cabin it is. Both of them opened their respective doors at the same time, running the dozen or so feet past the front of the car towards the cabin. The door in front of them flew open as the old woman, looking as solid as ever, stepped aside for them. They quickly ran into the cabin, and for just a moment felt relieved. And then the woman pulled the door shut and immediately vanished. No mist, no dissipation, just a blink. Jonathan just nodded, trying to catch his breath. Yep, that just happened, he said in between gasps. Now what? Catherine moved over to the doorknob, trying the door, only to realize that somehow there was no actual opening there, only a knob attached to a wall with the outline of a door scrolled into it. Before either of them could form a question, they were silenced by the echoes of footsteps approaching them slowly from across the room. They huddled together, Jonathan instinctively positioning himself between his wife and the approaching sound. In the light from the candle that was still there in the window, they could see a shadowy image moving toward them. And then an insidious laughter. It never gets old, does it, Johnny boy? Stepping into the light, there was Uncle Sam. But not quite. The eyes were completely black, and the skin had an overly moist, pale look to it, like wet marshmallows that threatened to drop a piece off here or there, but somehow stuck together. And he was smiling. What is? I don't. Jonathan was shaking his head, blinking more rapidly than usual, trying to stay conscious. You don't understand. I know. Uncle Sam moved closer. You never do. Where's your wife? Jonathan spun to hold on to Catherine, only to find no one there. Again, the laughter. What's going on? Jonathan cried out as he staggered back against the wall, almost feeling as if he sunk into a squishy surface by a quarter of an inch. Let me remind you, this is the deal. What deal? The deal your father agreed to. The deal that our father, your grandfather, the old man on the hill with all the power, encouraged him to make, to save the farm so you could make it to college, so you could meet Catherine, and make that little boy of yours who would grow up and spread the word. I don't know what you're talking about. You're an old man, Jonathan. Jonathan peeled himself away from the wall, looking at his hands. They were thin and bony, skin stretched across the knuckles and bunched up into wrinkles along his fingers and wrists. This doesn't make sense. It's okay, Johnny. Samuel stepped forward, embracing him. Again, Jonathan felt as if he sunk in a quarter of an inch, this time against the chest of the being that held him. We've been doing this for nearly 50 years. We've been through all the permutations. You come to the cabin with Catherine. You come to the cabin without Catherine. You get attacked by cannibals. You find your mom trapped in the cabin. You find the Book of the Dead. It goes on, but it always winds up right here because you belong to me now. and you always have the same choice. What choice? The figure took Jonathan by his shoulders and moved toward the window, pointing at the candle as it went out. You could either light the candle or leave it as is. What happens if I light the candle? Then, if nobody sees it, you get to do this all over again. Samuel patted him on the back. Some combinations of fear and pain, loss and sadness, ultimately ending right back where you are now. What do you mean if nobody sees the candle? What if somebody sees the candle? Jonathan felt as if the world was swirling around him. Well, if somebody sees it, then they get to take your place, Johnny. You get to die, and they take your place with the same options. And what if I just leave the candle as it is now, unlit? You get to go free. Jonathan looked up confused. Images of chainsaws cutting into his body and demons feasting upon his flesh flooded his mind. And your boy becomes mine. Even though Jonathan had never met his son, he knew this was not an option. If somebody else sees the candle, can I decline? Can I still choose to stay here and not give them the options? Samuel smiled, his voice deep and somehow soothing. Of course you can. How long? What's that? Samuel asked. How long do I have to do this? The being chuckled. Forever, Johnny. If your boy dies and we're still doing this, then you are mine forever. The world goes on. Your grandfather and I play another game at some point, but you are always mine. You just have to make your decision. The cabin in the woods had been abandoned for years, decades in fact. But one night, a candle burned in the window. The end.
What? B, 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 B. Mind blown, BB.
Was that fun? Was that good? I liked it.
Brain blowing BB. That's what it stands for. Brain blower.
Nice.
Good, man. That had me intrigued the whole, not the whole time, but I mean,
yeah.
Like, you
good conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, super. Yeah, that's great, man.
Good conversation. Sorry, I don't want to talk over ad hoc. Be louder.
Oh yeah, just great. A great twists and turns, and man, it kept me intrigued. And great conversation and great setting, man. I had the visual, I pictured it differently than Genie and Monk, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. Good, guys. I was trying to take a slightly different tact, add a little bit of comedy in there, a little bit of humor, funny parts, but still try and get some kind of creep factor.
Yeah, the comedy was what made the creepy factor come in that much harder. Was that I had the sense of safety every time they were working through things logically, and then something terrifying would happen, and it was like, oh god, I literally didn't see that happening because I was distracted by the comedy. I will tell you that, first of all, I made the stupid mistake of sitting outside. And I had my back to the opening part of the porch, and mid-story, I scooched around the table. I was like, nope, can't. And I put my thing up. I was hiding under my blanket.
Nice.
Before they see the cabin again, when they're just driving and they're discussing, was it a bend or was it a turn? I'm pretty sure we were here. Just that gentle conversation, the tension between the couple is understandable, right? We've all been there before. Yeah. And that in and of itself brought a little suspense to me. The fact that they weren't on the same page with how to get back to the main road was oh God, if they're already sort of divided, then they're so much easier to conquer, right?
Sure.
So that was the first moment that I felt the suspense was just with
believable conversation.
Very believable conversation. I also loved like you started off by saying it's so hard to write horror because, you know, what do we reference? We're going to, you know, reference all these different things. I love the fact that you were throwing it in the reader's faces with all these different references so that it just nipped those right in the bud. Like the second you would think about something, the characters were telling you that they were thinking the same thing. And then the fact that you allowed them to attempt to problem solve the scary situation as logically as possible was also brilliant because, you know, as audience members, we've all screamed no. Like we've all screamed no, right? And so I really enjoyed their logical conversation, and yet still feeling like so what are you guys gonna do though, right?
I really, one of my favorite parts is the part where he, you know, they're talking about what's going on and all that, and Jonathan says, you know, of course this cabin could be home to a family of cannibals, and she, wild speculation does not help here, John.
Does not help here. Wild speculation does not help here, John. There's a lot of really fun quotable quotes in that. There, you know, Ad Hoc said that, you know, it was very visual. The whole thing was cinematic in mind, and that we all had our own version. And what was funny is when Ad Hoc said that, I was like, I had realized that mine was the correct one, but beyond that, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
Like it was very, I was watching this the whole time, and I hadn't quite realized how much I was watching it until Ad Hoc said that.
Right, nice.
You know what I mean? Like I knew the interior of the car, I knew the space between the car and the cabin.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I've, you know, and it's a part. It's in two parts. It's like you said that every horror story has been done-ish.
Right.
So it's hard to. So we have all of those components to put together, but you've also brought an ease to the conversation that they were having, the dialogue that brought our own personal life experience to the image cinema.
Awesome. Good.
You know, so it was really good. And then to take it there was profound.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, it was Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. It was, you know, books of philosophy and deities and what is consciousness and who wants to own vibrational consciousness. You know what I mean? Who are these so-called demons, you know, that feast off of such scenarios of the mind. And what is the mind? And all is mind. The universe is mental, and it goes back and back and back. It's very profound. It's a fucking profound story.
I liked that. One of the things were you saying something?
I just said agreed. Yeah, that's fucking great, man. So both of what you guys said is great addition.
Yeah. At the end there, you know, I was going for, you know, looking to try to hint
Mephisto.
At that, exactly, at that sort of thing. You know, that there was more backstory to, you know, whenever he says, you know, we've been through all the permutations before, you know, and you know, and reminding him that this is the deal. You know, this is the deal your father agreed to, the deal that our father, your grandfather, the old man on the hill with all the power.
That was fantastic. That was questioning, like, wait. There's so much more to this than there's so much more to this.
Yeah.
There was the time arc.
Yeah, right. And
so I only have 2 suggestions, and I don't know if they're even worth it for you because I know this has a deadline thing.
Sure.
The one is early in the story when they're talking about the will and they're talking about the property. Catherine says to John, Mike, your father.
Yeah.
But in couple conversations, she wouldn't have to clarify that it was his father. So either just, your father or Mike and let the reader get to it, because the very next sentence you say your father again.
That's a good call. Yeah, that's a good call.
I would never say Janet, your mother. It would be one or the other. And then the second thing is I just was waiting for when Samuel is giving him the sort of elusive explanation, but an explanation nonetheless, and Jonathan's asking all the right questions and I'm getting all the right answers. I was waiting for the reference to counting your chickens before they're hatched to come back around. And I didn't know if there might be something like, you know, that is there a way that Jonathan missed something and as a result he ended up counting his chickens and that's why he keeps going. Again, I know you've got a deadline, so if it doesn't fit in, it's totally not necessary, but I will tell you, as a listener, I was like waiting for that to be like the line that made me go, ooh, it's
a come around again. But I know that the counting the chickens was a reference to the shell incident, you know, the soft shell. Right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, soft shells of the.
Yeah, I thought don't count your chickens before they're hatched, and then you know there was a reference to the disease that was it.
Father. Yeah,
I thought that's as far as I expected that to go personally.
Okay.
I didn't need it to come back.
Okay, I already removed the your father part because that's a great call. So I'm going to remove that from the first part. Yeah. It does read just as fine. It reads even better. So thank you for that.
I know there was one part where I was slightly confused, and I don't know if you want to read it again to me. But it was, was it where the darkness set in, and it was a heavier, more solid darkness. But then there was almost something, but there was something pressing or like faces outside the door, something like outside the windows. And I was like, wait, is this, why is that literal? And why are they not reacting? Is it? It was a mild confusion to me, and it could have just been me. Of that section of wait, is something happening, like physically, or is this description?
Right, I got you. Yeah. I mean, that was just a description of the feeling. I'm trying to.
Yeah, as it went on, it became obvious it was just a feeling. But there were. That's the only moment that I was like, wait, what?
Right.
That I wasn't with the story. I actually questioned the story of where I was in the movie because it's a movie now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you can reread it and feel that out. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I will. I would definitely.
And that's it.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, and there is some, there is a backstory that was the inspiration to the story that's not in there that would be very, very difficult for people to pick up on. But it's who is everybody, who are the
I'd like to, if I would read that story, I would start at the beginning again.
Yeah.
And start reading it again.
Right. Yeah.
Like there was a name dropped right at the beginning.
Yeah, Taxia, the Taxia farm.
Yeah, and
who?
Taxia, the Taxia farm. That was his name, Jonathan Taxia.
And it starts out by saying that the candle was lit. Can you read that? So and so lit the candle or something like that.
Yeah, the first line. Is,
yeah, good.
Is just the cabin in the woods had been abandoned for years, but one night a candle burned in the window. The candle had been placed there by Jonathan Taxia, a man in his mid-20s, and then it just goes on from there.
Right. You know what? Now that I think about it, there was a little confusion in my mind, and again, it could have just been where my brain was at the time and what I was doing. But a candle was lit in the window. There was a cabin, and then it jumps from that scenario to where they are to get to the cabin.
Yeah.
And for a moment, I was like, "Wait, are these didn't they just light the candle in the wind? No, wait, they're going to the cabin.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
It's definitely a bit of a it's like that first part is kind of a prelude that kind of sets the stage.
Oh, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the only other moment. There were two moments that I was just like, wait, where are we? Yeah. And I think if I was reading it, it obviously would be obvious, you know.
I didn't have any trouble with the prelude, the setup of who the two characters are, and even then going further back into his growing up days, and then bringing us back to them as a couple headed to the cabin. I was able to follow all of that. The other thing I wanted to say that is complimentary is I can't quite necessarily place the time era of this story.
Yeah.
I know it's got to be after a certain period of time because they're in a vehicle, and I get the idea that it's more modern than not, but the farm life that he talks about has a Dust Bowl quality to it.
Sure. Yep.
And when he talks about the circus coming through, it reminded me of the TV show that we used to watch, Carnival.
Yeah.
Which was the creepiest fucking show I've ever seen in my life, if you ask me. So right away, as soon as you went all the way back to his daddy's farm, that was a little bit where some uneasiness started to set in as well, that I was like, oh, the rules were so bendable then, and what we did and didn't do, and the, what kids were allowed to, like I was ready for it to start hitting me right then.
What's fascinating, my love, is that you saying that, I'm realizing
Carnival.
that the cinema, my mind cinema, the entire time, the automobile was that of the late 70s and early 80s. It was not a very electronic car.
Right.
Now that I think about it, like the car that they were sitting in was very much a Texas Chainsaw Massacre car. You know what I mean? A Friday the 13th car, which again, that's when the era of, horror movies. Like slasher movies that I actually.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there was a study done on this. If after you have 100 viewers, 100 listeners of this, capture what were they viewing? What model car was it? With their age group and demographic, and what was their favorite? What horror movies influenced them? Because
right.
I mean, if you grew up in in the 80s. When we first saw like Friday the 13th and
come on.
Yeah,
come on.
It's like those are in there. Those are our images, and
that is not an electronic car. It's not a Tesla.
No.
Also, the creepy thing that went under the car.
Oh, fuck you, dude. That sucked.
Yeah, right.
I loved watching the monk listen to that. Like
what? I was stoic.
Oh yeah, with your head swinging back and forth.
No.
Nope. You were noping that big time.
That's funny.
You were just like, nope.
Oh, I thought I was watching the lips of the D&D master.
Nice.
Oh, that's hilarious. You really thought you were being stoic? No, you were freaking out. It's awesome.
That's funny.
Nice.
Which it increased my nervousness because out of the two of us, I get scared faster than you do. And so if you were nervous about it, I was like, oh, crap. That's when I was like,
yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed.
I think this is also a great. I think this is a really good story and a good length, and so a type of story and length of story to be adapted easily to screen.
Yeah,
I agree. There's so many parts that you could flesh out further.
Yeah, like you already have so much of the visuals there, and to adapt it into a screenplay, and then monetize it to people that are in film school and say they're always looking for projects. And no, because because from a production standpoint, it's one location and the woods are free, and pick your car.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you already have a car available. So it's like literally can be shot here, anywhere.
Good point.
And it comes down to acting and the direction and very few props. So, and makeup. And like Point Park, every place does makeup. That's what they're going to teach. They're going to teach, if you any was doing.
Oh, good description too of the fleshes and the quarter inch and what is real and what isn't real.
I love when the
Moist.
old woman put her hand over her mouth.
Yeah.
When she saw the same thing and was like,
that was great because it's like, okay, she was waving them in because she knew something, was going to get them. So please come in. Right. And then, all of a sudden, that was great because it really did tie you to that as a human responding on the other side the way we were responding.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you see a large individual crawl out from underneath your vehicle and realize you're not going to stay in that vehicle anymore.
You can't.
But what are you going to do? I don't know. You got to run to the fucking spectral. That right there is a spectral apparition waving to us from. Did you hear something out of the car?
Yes, that was great. Oh, see, that's comedy. That's good comedic timing.
Yeah,
that's good writing.
Comedy to like seriousness, like
in a horrible, shitty situation. Quick.
Can I ask you how this is when you are an artist like we all are, darling. One of the questions that is most commonly asked to us artists was how long did it take you to get there? And that is a question of, was it beamed? Did it already exist and you channeled it? Or did you construct it? Or did you construct it and build it like a fucking, a building?
Right. Yeah,
which takes years.
Right. I mean, the opening line's already mandatory, so I knew the opening line, so I had the setting, and then the first 3 or 4 paragraphs were there right away. Like I knew I wanted to set something up and then jump time, so that it showed him lighting the candle in the cabin, and then jump back and give you a little bit of backstory on the characters. And I knew how I wanted to end it. I knew the ending as well.
Of course,
and then
that was my thing I was going to say.
Yeah, and then it was the middle part that I had to build up and figure out how did I want to get there without just going movie cliche after movie cliche, and somehow make it a little different or a little unique, maybe somewhat humorous, but still have a creep factor in there. And then actually what Rebecca said, it was exactly I was thinking about Carnival. I was thinking about some of the imagery and some of the stuff in there.
Oh.
Yeah, that kind of inspired a lot of the thoughts, and then I just did a little bit of research on a few things and came up with the last name, his last name. And then
Taxia.
Taxia, yeah. It's
paying your taxes, something owed.
Well, no, his name is Michael. His dad's name would have been Michael Taxia. And the Archangel, Michael, he was called Michael Taxia, or Taxiarch, because he was the brigadier of the Archangels. So he was the fighter of the Archangels. Michael's brother was Samael, Lucifer.
Oh, interesting. Went right by.
Yeah.
That's good.
And their father, of course, the old man on the hill with all the power.
Zeus.
Would be some entity that that needed
took the name of Zeus at one time.
Yeah, that needed to be worshipped, and so in that sense, the grandfather, God, encouraged his child Michael, his angel Michael, encouraged him. No, sacrifice your son, Jonathan, to Samael, because we need the farm. The way the universe is unfolding is you need the farm so that your son, Jonathan, can go to college, can meet Catherine, and give birth to their son. And that boy will spread my word.
Shit, barrels.
he's the one that will reignite my religion, my faith.
And that's the shit where you read it a couple times, as T was saying.
Like-
you might get there. You might get there if you do read like detective type of research. But that's great that you have that.
That's so great.
Or if
baby.
you have a platform in which to expand it just a little further. The only other thing I will say is that the tail end where Samuel is explaining everything to Jonathan did seem to move a little quickly.
Yeah, and that was because of the contest, and I was running out. Yeah, I was running out of words. It had to be less than 5,000 words, and I realized, that they were in the car, and I had a little under 1,500 words left, and I was like, "Fuck, man! I got 1,500 words to get them into the cabin, and not lose the creep factor." And wrap it up in some kind
of fucking cool, man.
Palatable way.
Working within constraints can move. Will create a different end result. Sometimes, sometimes better, right? Because it keeps within that time frame that people's attention spans are kind of willing to put up with nowadays, or whatever the case. But it forces you to move the story forward, and knowing that you're kind of getting an idea of pages and beats of the story, and that whatever type of story this is, right? It's a mythological kind of story, right? Myth of some sort,
it's not. It's modern day Gnosticism with the demiurge. Like BB, you really should start researching modern day Gnosticism.
Yes,
because this whole reality, it's the God that the Bible is about is not your friend. It's it's not. He's a jealous God. He is one to be feared. He's a wrathful God. That God, and that's the demiurge. And you're describing this over and over again in all your stories that there's a demiurge. I think you'll align with it.
Right, of the Bible, and
the Old Testament.
The Old Testament, yeah.
In terms of how long it took overall, it was 4 or 5 days, around 3 hours per writing session.
Man, I think you hit another brilliant ball out of the park there, BB. Even talking about it, man, it's always great to have these conversations.
It's great to talk. Yeah,
it really, man, it makes me just kind of remember through the story in a different way, and hear it in a different way, and hear from a different perspective, and it's just that's a great point, and it's addressed. I think it's really great. My one curiosity question would be if you didn't have that time constraint, would you is there anything you would go back and do you feel a need to or want as a writer to go back and add narrative because you think that it would give you the pacing that you would prefer as a viewer? Because that's how you're going to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel the need to do it right now, but I do have an interest in elongating that ending a bit.
The cab inside the cabin.
Yeah, inside the cabin.
Just inside the cabin. And cinematically, I think that's where they would put it in.
That's where they would.
Because the dialogue moves quite nicely, and in a cinematic way, it moves actually faster when in real time than reading it.
Yeah,
so
I had
you know what I mean?
initially.
So all that would be added inside the cabin, inside Wonderland.
Yeah,
on the other side of the looking glass.
I had initially envisioned some conversation with the old woman figure happening between Jonathan and the old woman figure and Catherine. And even I tossed around the idea of the old woman figure winding up being his mother that died a year after the deal was made.
Right, that's where she went. That's what I kind of assumed that's who she was in a way.
Yeah, I was, but then I just didn't have. Like I said, it's 4,876 words, and the limit was 5,000, so I only had 124 words to spare.
Excellent.
So that's a paragraph at most.
Yeah, I did assume that was the mother figure consumed by the cabin. At that point, the cabin was
the thing.
The thing.
Well,
the Mephisto.
I'll tell you, there was supposed to be a game tonight in which I wanted to work, and I still would have went out and worked, and would have made some pretty good money night. But being there was special occasions with birthdays, and then you said the story drop, I was like, this is worth $100.
Right on, Ad.
Awesome.
This is like.
That says it all.
So as the dessert, let me read the story that interrupted my horror story.
I can't stick around for this. I got to wake up at 5.
It's a 30-second story.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's literally a poem. It's like nothing. It's
okay.
I woke up Sunday with the opening line in my head, and it. Oh, that's right. You were not at the stream. I was telling Jafar and Ad Hoc.
Okay.
But I woke up on Sunday with the opening line in my head, and then it literally would not. I could not write on the horror story on Sunday because this line was stuck in my head. Yeah, and I had to finish it, and it turned into a not Bryant style thing at all. But I think it's not terrible. Okay. I'm going to read this now. It is called, the name of it is What is Happening? Okay, that's the name of it. And here we go. What is happening? It's just for a moment that I close my eyes. And when I open them again, I realize the lies which I deride and despise have come true. Maybe not for me or you, but for far too many reds and blues and all the hues in between whose choices to choose, not that which is authentic, but that which is smooth. Smooth as in uncomplicated, uninvolved, undemanding. Something that doesn't require sitting or standing while, may your gods forbid, and thinking about how things are hitting and landing in the hearts and minds and of anyone who isn't you. And why is it so fucking tricky to find validity in a reality where you can weave what you conceive as truth into an actuality that doesn't infringe on me, or him or her, he or she, them or their? You say what's fair is fair? Well, what you see is this decent and equitable to me is devious and intolerable, confusing and unfathomable, lacking the why, the what, the who, or the where. To keep it square, I comprehend that for you, the reverse is true. My ideal Shangri-La is imperfect and flawed, askew in your view due to a misconstrued conclusion I have of some grand plan. I comprehend, but I don't understand. Because the key that you either refuse or are unable to see is that while you demand that what's right for you is right for me, that's not the life I choose to breathe. We each have our own plate in front of us, confronting us, dealing with what life has for us. I inhale bliss, exhale euphoria. I feel no need to spit and worry ya. I find my path leave you your dysphoria. So while the world seems more maddening, challenging, blackening, and baffling, I keep balancing and channeling whatever dazzling joy I can find. I'll close my eyes, find my smile, continue gambling and battling, shambling and scrambling, and reflecting on the question, what is happening?
Oh, fuck the yeah. Oh, B.
My eye.
It's so beautiful and perfect.
Kind of like emotional right now.
With all this going on, man.
That's kind of emotional right now. That's beautiful.
Thank you. That means a lot because it fucking was. It came from me somewhere. It came from somewhere on Sunday, and I just could not. And it just started falling into that rhythm. I wrote the whole thing in like a few hours on Sunday.
Thank goodness you took the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's my what is happening story.
Yeah, you need to, or if you could, make it a point to make it readable and shareable.
Can we have these?
And I'm gonna post it. Yeah. I'll post it on.
I think it could help a lot of people.
Yes, send it over this way too, man. I might, if I don't know. I'm definitely. I was trying to picture like what music would go under that. You know, if I were to produce some music, like what would it be? You know,
probably "Hail to the Chief."
Well, the rhyming pattern is, Yeah. Cut up that. What's that song that that the rednecks or that Republicans? Yeah. That, oh God, awful. About God save the USA. You guys are still listening to that. It's like, man. I mean,
Right.
it's definitely Purple Mountain's Majesty. It's like, modernized kind of cadence for that. But no, I don't know what it would be, but it would be interesting to play with.
What's up, Monk?
I would like Jeannie. I have to sign off soon. Jafar and I were in DC last week, leading up to the 4th of July, and there was an inscription on one of the walls that I think Jeannie Jafar really should share right now, because it's very in tune with what was being discussed, and what we're saying is, how are you still believing that?
Right.
You know what I mean? How are you still blah 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 nationalism, blind nationalism?
It was on the Thomas Jefferson Monument, which we actually didn't get to it. And actually, I've never been to it. Just hasn't worked out yet. But when we were staying with the Moroscos while we were there, and Shannon's family had just been in visiting, and they had gone into DC for a couple days in a row, and they didn't do any of the Smithsonian's. They just did the monuments. And Shannon took a picture of this quote that was in the Thomas Jefferson Monument, and they have lots of them there. And this one, so I'm summarizing it, but basically what it said was that we wrote the Constitution, we wrote the Declaration of Independence, but we wrote the Constitution with the laws, with the idea that we should continue to adapt to them as we as a people continue to adapt, that we as mankind are going to get smarter and brighter and more innovative and more inventive. And so as we do so, we have to adjust these laws to adhere to each new society's way of thinking.
Right.
And the line that it finishes with, which was just like, was, otherwise it would be like asking a grown man to wear the coat of his youth the rest of his life. It does not fit. And I was like, when she read she took a picture of it and read it to me, and I was like, hand of K-Rock, everybody.
Hand of K-Rock.
Hand of K-Rock. Oh.
What are you drinking?
Cheers to the birthday boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the Chan and the BB.
Hand of K-Rock, everybody. I just thought that was such a great quote to have read to me.
Yeah.
As all I have heard as the argument for so many of these things that are happening is this is what they wanted. It's in the Constitution.
Right. Yeah.
Like, right. But the guy who wrote it is also saying that, oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this may not apply forever. Yeah.
You missed that part, but okay. Because it doesn't suit your agenda, but okay. Love your poem, Bri. Love it.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Very emotional. Really good.
Man.
That's awesome.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
And you know what, too? It was poetry, but it wasn't like beatnik cheesy poetry. It wasn't asking me to listen to you tell me this story. It was just read, and enough of it flowed together with similar sounding words to make it like riding gently, but the message was more bold than the
it was fire.
lyricism of the words.
There was an intellect beyond it. Yeah.
The message was bold, but the words had lyricism.
Nice.
I mean,
anything that stirs emotion is awesome.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what art's supposed to do, right? Move your
Yeah.
True art evokes emotion. That's what all of my student loans. Every time I had to pay a student loan, there was one sentence that I was like, if I learned anything, there were 2 sentences, and it was that artists are natural born something, and the other. Sorry, I had to do that. Natural born problem solvers. Thanks, thank you. The artists are natural born problem solvers, and the other one that I paid for, the other quote that I paid X amount of dollars for, was that true art evokes emotion. So you don't have to like it. You need to feel it, and even if that is hate, or fear, But yeah, and you achieve this, again and again.
And I learned that secondarily through the monk,
Right.
That's it. It's like every time I was like looking at this painting, it's like, man, is it doing that for me? No, next. Like,
do I hate this painting as much as the other ones?
As the last one, it's equally. Yes.
Do I hate this painting as much as I hate him? Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he's getting close. He's getting close.
He's getting close to the less loathing.
Keep pushing the button. Just a little nibble on the button.
Button pusher. He's a button pusher.
He's a button pusher.
He's
a magnet.
All
Hey,
right.
you gotta say goodnight.
Your button pusher.
As do I, but I gotta say thank you so much for being family. BB, my life is intertwined with yours in undescribable ways. So many different dimensions. You know what I mean? Where it's not so good. And I'm really thrilled with the one that I'm currently experiencing. And a lot of it stems from the 5-year-old Todd meeting Bryant.
Bryant.
Love it. Yeah, love you guys.
And we're going to see each other on Saturday, right?
Yes, that's right.
We'll just we'll physically hold your tickets and give them to you before the show, and they're $15 a piece. You can do that math. You can Venmo us, PayPal us, or hand us cold hard cash right then and there. Whatever works for you.
Cool. Oh yeah,
What
it's going
time
to
is
be.
the show?
Doors open at 7.
And music starts at 8.
And there's 3 opening bands.
No, there's 2 opening bands. There's a total of 3 acts.
And you guys are the first band or second?
Not sure. I don't know if we're starting or if we're middling. You know.
I would imagine that you're middling.
I would imagine middling, but there's brass in the second band, so it might make sense that they have them in the middle just from the sound man point of view. So, I mean, if we open the show, that's fucking great, because I get to hang out for the rest of the night. But as far as like sonically, we should be in the middle.
I mean, sound guy's going to do the miking of everything up front because he's not going to have time to.
We're going to be there at 4 p.m, so I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Laura will be pulling for your opening. She's not sure how long she's going to stay.
Oh, she's actually going to come. I thought she was not going to make it.
Yeah, Lauren's coming too.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but she said she's probably going to have to take off like 9:15, 9:15, something like that.
Yeah,
she should be able to see something.
I'm also not sure like when I'm going to get there or how long I'm going to stay. So I'm definitely going to be there for your performance. But yeah, there's a dude that's doing a show at the Lawrenceville Art Crawl that's put on by Red Fishbowl, who I know Chris Bowles, who is that. Yeah. And I'm trying to get this consortium label together called All the Dice, and
that's a good name.
All the Dice Records.
Yeah,
and
a good name.
It's All the Dice Music, and it's a nod to us for having All the Dice, and then also Alderdice High School, which is Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa, both at all the high schools that are in the greater Pittsburgh area. Both of them somehow, the 2 guys, a white guy and a black guy, that came out of Pittsburgh and impacted rap ripples directly throughout every rapper currently out. Is very, very. They know one of their libraries very well, and so that's that. But this dude Kayshawn, who goes by Q, is doing a performance.
Cosmic
And
Kid.
I want to put my boy our boy Sigil, who's from Johnstown.
Yeah.
Who's repping the label. He's
great.
He's going to be repping the label. So,
Well, I know me, K-Rock, me, K-Rock.
That's cool, Ad Hoc. Do what you got, man. I got it. I'm with you.
Yeah. Me, K-Rock, Dameron, and Adrian will most likely be there at Doors Open.
Nice.
And then me and K-Rock will be there till we all decide to leave.
Nice.
Dameron, Adrian.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you guys there and doing another toast with you in real life, BB.
Woohoo!
Fuck yeah. All right, all. Be safe.
All right.
Be safe out there, everyone.
Awesome night. Hope you recorded it. Always press record.
Always press record. Always. Damn it.
Oh, and Siegfried had to be DD because I didn't know it was DD though. It's because he got Wednesday night jam night.
He's not doing it tonight. He's not doing it tonight. Because I messaged him earlier because Chandler's birthday was today and he was going, Mom asked if she could take him out for something and he was like, no, it's open mic night tonight. And so I messaged DD to say like, hey, Chandler's birthday's today. He's going to be at open mic. And he was like, that's cool. I'm not going to be at open mic.
Oh, somebody else is hosting it maybe then.
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, it's not
Siegfried is definitely not.
No, it is because who else knows that or Nightmare, which are both characters from
Soul Calibur.
Oh, wait,
Soul
Soul Calibur Siegfried. Nightmare is
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur also.
Oh, Soul Calibur. Okay. I was thinking it was.
It's not Dave D though.
See, I would love if you just kept saying the word Soul Calibur while they Soul Calibur.
Look, whoever has access to the Big Room gang, read through it. One
see who the fuck it is. Yeah.
It was. I'm sure because there's not that many people there.
See who the fuck it is. Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
I'm scarred for life, but I'm set for life, and I'm set for life, but I'm scarred for life, and I'm coming at you. I'm fucking crazy. I'm fucking psycho. I'm fucking insane.
That's the fucking chorus right there.
You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. You nailed it. And you visually transformed into fucking Joe Rogan. There,
You
dude.
did.
You fucking,
Joe Rogan. Yeah.
yeah. You did. You visually transformed into Joe Rogan. It was amazing.